Hey guys, just want to react quickly to another internet phenomenon, news, whatever you call it. Today, I wanted to quickly talk about this OF girl that she shared her earnings on the platform OnlyFans, and it was like 43 million, right? And a lot of people feel some type of way about that, and understandably so, because you know it's a lot of money, right? And it takes men, if not decades, generations to earn that much money and put forth that amount of effort to get and create enough value to society to earn that money. So this has a lot of people feeling some type of way, and I understand completely, right? But we need to clear our minds here for a second as men that are dating, men that are in relationships with women, men that have to contend with gynocentrism in every aspect of their life. Um, we have to really get a mental model and stick to it to understand why this is, like, first off, it's not your problem, and number two, it's great news for you. Now that's very counterintuitive, because when you see someone that's terrible or a bad person, you're just like, why are they successful? Why do they get to be had this generational wealth? Meanwhile, there's guys that actually build society and contribute to society, and they get nothing. They get nothing but tax. They don't get laid. They're there's not much society's offering them except a paycheck. And even then, with inflation and all that stuff, it's difficult to even buy a house, right? The medium age for a, a first home in the United States is 37 right now, and that's insane, right? That means in 2 years I'll be able, according to the what the statistics say, I'll be able to afford a home, right? So this is not only this one chick. There's several women. They post their houses. Look, I bought a house with my OnlyFans money, or they act like they're pseudo celebrities and all that stuff, and that they did the right thing and this is awesome and all that. So why is it that this is good news for you as a guy? Why is it that, hey, you should look at this and breathe a sigh of relief and chuckle to yourself, right? And the reason is because it shows you, first off, your competition, right? So you are a man, and nature intended you to compete. It's literally how we evolved and got to this point. None of this society would exist if men weren't at each other's throats trying to be better than other men, right? So you, on a whole scale, looking at society as a whole scale, you look at this and you're just like, hey, um, these there are men out there that are paying to see women naked, right? Um, they're paying money. And, if I were a betting man, I don't think those guys are going out there to meet women and have dates. I don't think those guys understand women at their core. Um, so for every guy that decides to use OF or pornography to solve their intimacy problem, their reproductive problem, right? As a sedation, that's one extra girl that's on the market that they would have talked to or been in a monogamous relationship with for you, right? It's literally the game is taking care of itself. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, have you guys ever played like Apex Legends or Fortnite, and someone um kills themselves by accident, right? In a video game, or someone jumps off a ledge by accident. It's just like that's what's happening, right? Men are delivering you an easier sexual marketplace, and you need to be happy about that, because it's already hard to get laid if you're not experienced. And also, like, I want to go to places where there's a lot of hot chicks and a lot of awkward men, right? Because it's easier for me, right? It's it When you see these news where we see like the stock price of OnlyFans, or we see a girl bragging, or we see, you know, we have to take it for what it is. On a larger scale, men are giving up. Men are using these platforms to get female intimacy and, sexual imagery, right? And do you think those men are going to be motivated to go out and meet women and, like, take a sincere interest in solving their problem? No, they're done. They're going back to their video games, back to their job, back to their average mediocre life, while you now are getting ready to go out. You learn how to dress, you've learned how to talk to women, you have social skills, right? You have a little bit of social proof at the places you go. You have backup girls, in case you have this intricate complex of making sure you will always get laid. A system. You have a system. These men have nothing. These men are looking at a 19-year-old's boobs online and making her rich. And you may say, well, what about society? What about your fellow man? I can tell you something about your fellow man. Your fellow man does not care about you. Your fellow man wouldn't piss on you if you're on fire. They would betray you for a little bit of sex from a woman, right? So stop with this fellow man stuff. Stop with this. What about the all of society, right? The more important thing here is that the competition is exiting the game, and that makes it much easier for you, right? It's like the Tournament of Power in Dragon Ball Super. It's like as if people were jumping off the stage. There's less people to worry about. It doesn't seem like it, right? Because the game is still difficult, and maybe women aren't as polite and feminine as they used to be, right? But in terms of getting laid, yeah, there's nothing to worry about. If you are worried that because there's OnlyFans girls that are making money, that's just your male neuroticism kicking in. I can tell you from my experience, which is pretty vast, that it's like 1 out of 100 or 2 out of 100 chicks or 1 out of 50 that do this stuff that you'll meet. And not only that do it, but are open about it. Most girls, if they've done it, they've probably done it for a very short period of time. They're probably not gonna do it with a guy. They're not gonna shoot it with a guy and all that stuff. So this is, obviously this the OnlyFans girl that everyone talks about is obsessed with online is an abstraction, right? It's not something that'll apply much to your real life. And what is the red pill but a system or a praxology to build a positive sexual identity on, right? Using people's shared experiences, pooling them, and then trying to solve our problems with women, right? Um, take it for what it is. Like I think it was Nietzsche that said in every society there's gonna be clowns. There's gonna be shameless people, right? There's gonna be like as society grows, the percentage is proportional to the amount of people in society, the percentage of shameless people. So realize that you what the tradcons are asking, right, which is kind of childish, is that there's no more shame in society, no more shameless people. Sorry, there is always going to be shameless people. There's always people that are going to do whatever it takes to make a quick buck, throw their family under their bus, everything, right? It's not your problem. That's the beautiful part of this, right? You can look at this article or whatever post from OF girl saying, "Look how rich I am," and you can laugh because yes, while they have lots of money, remember they're a part of the shameless class of society, right? I am not the part of the shameless class of society. I like being respected. I like going around and being treated with some sort of regard, whether it be among my friends, family, or job, or anyone. I can't do that, and I don't want to do that, right? Um, it is what it is, right? And if you guys don't believe me, a lot of these old chicks don't even show their face, right? Because they know deep down this is a shameless activity. So yeah, stop complaining, give it up, right? It's not your problem. What other people do with their bodies is not your problem, right? You have other things to worry about. Laugh it off because it's just men getting out of your way. That's all it is. Men getting out of your way. It's the best news you'll ever hear, right? I wanted to reference this article today. It's by I think Whisper. Yeah, it's Whisper. I'll bring it up here pretty soon. And it's basically it's a great article. It was made in December 15th, 2020, which is like basically the peak, like where a lot of women who were stuck at home were starting to realize they could use their sexuality or sexual capital on, like on Twitch and OF and all that stuff. This is like the beginning of the end, if you will. So the name of the article is called "Why What Some of You Clowns Are Actually Mad About OnlyFans." And then he goes on to explain like when are you gonna stop being butthurt about every girl on the planet not being your ideal Stepford sex slave? It's our thinking about them as commodity that follows the rules of economics. A small but significant percentage of the latest generation of basic self-absorbed bimbos just dropped the bottom out of the pussy market 3 times. So you guys got to understand something, right? Let me make this bigger. Uh, 1 second. One more time. You guys got to understand something. As women make it easier to see them naked, to sleep with them, and all that stuff, what happens, right? A lot of guys lose hope because in their mind, every single girl is some kind of sex slave or some kind of marriage slave that they have to, you know, has to be available just in case one day he wants to have a relationship with her, right? And that's unrealistic. It's stupid, and it shows you have no mastery or game at all with women, right? AKA your typical tradcon. Here, right? What we're trying, what Whisper is trying to say is that as women become easier and it's easier to see boobs and butt and whatever body part you want in whatever race, like to the point where anyone, like you specifically right now, guys, go on Google and search any body part. Like it's there's so much women and at every race that it's almost like going to Subway and being like, I you can build your own adult film because there's just so much searching, so much available out there, so much women doing this, right? Um, and what happens is the price of male commitment goes up, meaning that as a guy who gets laid, which isn't incredibly hard these days, as a guy who gets laid, uh, it's your commitment is worth more now because you can get the things that you needed to be in a relationship before you can get them for free, right? And that's what a lot of women are struggling with right now. And if you go all the bitching on Twitter, if you guys pay attention to it, it's all boils down to one thing: male commitment is expensive and women are exhausted, right? And instead of maybe blaming your shameless prostitution class of women, which is ever growing, right? They chose the easy way out, sticking objects inside of themselves for $4.99 a month, um, on camera. uh, they blame you as a man. They're like, "Hey, it's your fault that you don't want to lower the price of your commitment." And I'm like, "No, ladies, this is not how it works. You don't get to just lower. I'm not going to lower and lose leverage for you. Like you guys did this. I'm a man who has options, and yes, I may not get the perfect option, and maybe I not get the perfect girl, right? But my commitment is expensive now. And ladies, that's it. That's all there is. Commitment is expensive, male commitment, right? Because the men that are worth a damn, not the betas they settle down with. I'm talking about men that actually they want, if they decide to be in a relationship, it's going to be hard for those men to like settle, right? Because they're already getting everything they want, right? I'm telling you, I've gotten treated better by women that I was casually seeing than by girlfriends. The women I would casually see would even do dinner parties for me. Like, "Hey, I'm going to prove to you that I can do a dinner party for you," and all that. "I'm going to give you a massage. I'm going to get you a piano teacher. I'm going to, hey, I got box tickets to um, the baseball game. You should come." Right? Women that outside of a relationship treat me better, and all that does is make the cost of commitment higher for me. And that means like, hey, I can get all this girlfriend stuff that men like bitch and complain about in their 20s. I can get it for free. Like all I got to do is pay for a couple dates, maybe, and then give her good sex, and that's it, right? So think about it like that, guys. That's that mental model is going to help you. So you're just not like let the other people bitch and complain about some chick somewhere in the shameless class of society. Every society has a shameless class. Let her make money, right? Let her make money. Let's move on. So, uh, okay, so there's three things he meant Whisper mentions. First, because the price of a girl getting naked for you is now fixed at about the going rate of a cup of fancy coffee. So Whisper, I think, grew up in the time of the '70s and all that stuff, or around that era. So he understands that like how it used to be compared to now, right? When feminism, third wave, second wave feminism hit the markets. Second, because many of the simps who used to give out free attention are now home jerking off to cheap custom porn, which drives the price of milk in shop, which we just talked about, right? There's guys that like I see it all the time on Twitter, openly discussing the women and even interacting with the same women that they jerk it to, openly with their profile picture, even their name, right? These guys do not care. These guys are out of the game, right? Because a guy like that, I'm pretty sure ain't gonna be a smooth cat that's gonna pull up to a girl at a bar, at a salsa night, at an event, at a rock climbing gym, wherever you're at. They're not gonna have the balls to do that, right? Because they're literally discussing uh porn stars on publicly on Twitter. Like these men are out the game. Trust me. Um, all right. Third, because now ordinary girls, instead of just drug addicts whose daddies beat them, Jesus Christ, are now joining the sex work economy, which normalizes prostitution. And when that becomes legalized in the same way that we did, the real price of pussy will forever be public knowledge, and it won't be much, right? So now, like you have these apps, like you have sugar dating apps, and you have seeking arrangements and all that stuff, where women go on there, even normal women with degrees, like we saw Tiffany Fong. I don't know if it's real, but we saw Tiffany Fong on a sugar baby, sugar daddy site in New York, right? We know her price. We know her price now, right? And morality aside, morality and ego aside, let's say you are a guy and you're in your early 30s and you're making good money, right? You know, whatever amount of money you're making, and you dated for a little bit, you realize like, hey, the average amount of money I spend to get a girl to bed is this much, right? And if I pay this much more, I get a really hot chick, and it's understood that we're gonna hook up. All I need to do is pay her this much, right? And you know, a lot of men are gonna be like, "That makes sense. I'm a busy guy. I have things to do. I don't wanna be in a relationship right now, and I know the price." There's no like, "Hey, I wasn't really feeling it after 3 days," or something like that, right? And that's just gonna become more and more normalized. It was my biggest prediction of 2024 is that this stuff's gonna become more normal and makes more sense, right? So, can I blame a guy for doing that? Absolutely not, right? Here, you know when you know something and you take out the guesswork and the mystery out of dating, a lot of guys are just gonna choose that path. So that means that we know that the price of sex is, you know, with a certain girl, we know the price now, right? And even then, guys, I've never paid for this stuff or done sugar dating, right? But I've had women who I've seen for 3, 4 months ask me, "Hey, you should get me nails, or you should get me this, you should get me that," right? You should give me everything in my Sheen cart, Sheen cart, right? And that's women telling me this is my price, right? Obviously, I didn't do that, but more and more, especially with these younger chicks, you're going to realize that these women just they don't care about love, they don't care about relationships. They know that male commitment is expensive, and they would rather get paid and not deal with male expectation as much, right? So um, so look, if the red pill was the Triad Central Committee of the revived ethno-nationalist socialist movement, and you were a good little Christian patriarch in training, look for your purist-driven snow Aryan forever wife to have starfish sex with you once a month with the lights off and raise your 3.5 children in exchange for half your shit. And yeah, OnlyFans will lower your pool of options. There you go. But you're not. You're a degenerate pervert who's here to learn and keep your pimp hand strong and be a better degenerate pervert from older, wiser, and more degenerate perverts like me. You don't care if society fucks off down a hole and drowns itself because it wasn't your decision to send it there. You have neither the power nor the obligation to save it. Don't you get it yet? You may be living in the upside down clown world, and the people running the circus may hate you, but you're still an advantage because you're the only guy in the room that isn't dressed as a clown. And that's the key here, guys. Um, you're going to realize as you get better with women, right? As you become part of that group of men that get it, that secret society, right? You don't have to be a super PUA and every girl, model like girl you touch sleeps with you, but at least you have this kind of mastery, at least some level of mastery with women. You're going to realize like you're very separate from the average guy, right? I went out to salsa night. I don't remember if it was last year or earlier this year, and there was a Honduran girl, very cute, but with just some massive boobs. I think they were fake, and she had them like 80% of them out, right? And you know, some of the men were drooling, and I mean, you know, like I understand, like, hey, I know what she's doing, right? Um, and when you guys deal with very attractive women or women that are just like, you know, very voluptuous and all that stuff and look great, you have to attack quickly. Like, don't let your mind start making theories in your head. Just go, don't think about it, right? Was it I think Mystery had that, like, was it 2-minute rule or some kind of rule where you had to approach right away? Um, and essentially, I did that. I just said, "Hey, let me go ask this girl to dance," right? Dancing is a buffer, sort of like a good buffer against rejection because it's implied that you just wanna dance, right? And we dance and, she I didn't know if they were real or not. They felt real because during dancing, we bumped into each other a little bit. But then I go back to one of the guys, and he's just, like, oogling. He's like, "Wow," and I'm like, okay," and he's like, "Dude, she knows what she's doing, blah, blah, blah," and then he mentions the word hypergamy to me, and I'm like, "Oh, God," like, that's like, I acted like I didn't know what I was doing. I was deep into making red pill content at this point, but I acted like, yeah, sure, I think I've heard of it before," right? Um But in that instance, guys, I was the only guy in the room that wasn't dressed like a clown, right? I understood what she was doing. I understood, hey, like, if when a very attractive woman comes up, you have to attack quickly. You have to, you have to do what you gotta do and all that. I know it's just dancing. I know right, but um, I wasn't gonna just oogle her or not. I wanted to get, I wanted to get some physical contact. I wanted to talk to her, get to know her, maybe get inside her head. And that's the experience I bring to you guys. It's not always every opportunity to dance is or to talk to a woman is sexual. It could be just a learning experience and all that, right? And then obviously, what do you call it? Social proof. Another other girls see me dancing with one of the most attractive women that everyone's, like, drooling over, then that means, like, "Hey, I'm the cool guy on the block," right? And I have my pick. So, yeah. Um, moving on. So, did you not ever wonder why the old world failed, why the tradcons got their asses kicked by feminism? Because the top side up pussy cartel will suck too, just in a completely different way. And then he talks about how, like, baby born men were so thirsty that, that's why the whole free love generation thing was so prolific because men were so we're just so thirsty. We can't help ourselves, right? He says, "Hey, I was there." Yeah, and he says, yes, he acknowledges, yes, a girl from material is scarcer, right? There's just less girls that are girl from material. Whether this could be due to obesity, men and women being very masculine, whatever have you, right? Depends on the man, what he sees, what he deems fit as a girlfriend. But now, um, you have to contend uh with what there is, right? It's the menu, like Aaron Clare. You have to see what's on the menu, and if cheap, easy sex is what's on the menu, then enjoy that, right? Stop with the morality. Stop with, I wish I had a girlfriend, because you don't really wish you had a girlfriend, right? You wish you had a girl. You want regular sex, right? When you're getting regular sex from one or multiple women, that's when you start thinking more clearly. You're just like, wait, I'm fine. Like, I enjoy my Sundays by myself, and I don't need a person for this holiday. Like, I all I wanted was sex, intimacy, right? So yeah. Um, I honestly don't know what I'm going to tell the girls that red pill women, because if they're still looking for a relationship and not ready already in one, they're simply completely and totally fucked. Imagine trying to keep your end count low when every single one day out there expects a test drive before he even thinks about buying, to say nothing of the joyriders who are only pretending to be in the market at all. That's the thing, like, that, like, debate, or not debate, but, like, the discussion I had with Michaela, where she doesn't understand this, right? I don't know her past. I'm gonna assume that, yeah, she got around, but not, like, not more than the average girl. Like, let's just say average girl, had a couple, hookups here and there. But it's gotta suck for women, because now men, our expectation is, if you don't sleep with us, then we're not gonna pursue anything. Right, and why would we? Because so many women are using us for our time and clowning us, right, and manipulating us into more attention, time, money, dates, whatever, that right now we have no choice but to say, "Hey, are we sleeping together or not?" And if they're not, if they say no, then congratulations, you're back out on the streets. This guy didn't work out because sex is easy and cheap, right? But he goes on to say that, "Hey, you are going to be fine. You guys, you will be fine." Right? And here's a very strong statement here. Feminism has given you far more power over women than patriarchy ever would have. Right? Because patriarchy is, hey, sacrifice one wife, do the right thing, um, and all that responsibility. Whereas now, women make their own money, so you don't have to worry about spending too much on them or anything. Um, you can enjoy any race of women. Like, I'm telling you guys, for especially in America, like, sleeping with women from different cultural or ethnic backgrounds, it's so exciting because just like I'm not even this isn't supposed to happen. Biologically speaking, I was supposed to only sleep with women in my own ethnicity, but here I am, some Taiwanese chick or some uh white girl from Seattle or something like, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And not only that, they like me, right? Like, um, my whole life I was told, hey, you're brown and you're not attractive to anyone but Dominican or Puerto Rican women, right? But then I go out there and I have women tearing my clothes off that are Asian, that are Indian, that are white, that are any race that I matched with, and that's amazing, guys. That's something that you should enjoy. That's one of the joys of life is being a conqueror, a colonizer, if you will. Right? That's what you are as a man. You are a colonizing fuck machine. Act like it. Um, so that's it, guys. That's basically the article. That's what I wanted to share with you in terms of uh, the perspective you want to have when any one of these girls posts about how awesome their life is, right? There is a class, there's always going to be a shameless class in society. Let them have their money and all that stuff. You don't want their lifestyle, trust me. You don't want the taxes they have to deal with. And what's to say that like a 19-year-old girl or whatever age these women are, like knows how to deal with that amount of money without getting screwed over by their parents, screwed over by the IRS, screwed over by their own bad spending habits, right? Like obviously I don't want to be a hater. You know, money is money, value is value, right? But um, if you were 19 and you came into that amount of money for almost little work, you think your life from there on is just going to be awesome. There's always something, there's always a caveat, not to be a hater, right? Um, and realize too that it's not only like it's mentally too, right? When you see guys mad, even these huge podcasters that say they're a voice for men, mad and trying to appeal to a sense of girls' morality. Now guys, that you are better with women than they are, right? Because you know that you cannot appeal. First off, you can't appeal to a woman's sense of morality. It's a waste of your time. They don't care. Women do not care about the opinion of men. They're not fucking or trying to fuck, right? So yeah, just by that fact, you know how far ahead you are of the average person. Just by that fact. And you should relish that. You should laugh and chuckle at these so-called voices for men, at these moralists, at these religious content creators or whoever count you see there's just like, wow, this is terrible. I'm like, dude, like who cares? Right? All that means for you, the only thing it means for you is that the competition is canceling itself out of the game. It's walking off the court. You're just like, okay, cool. You guys don't want to put in the effort that I did? Great. Now I have like you're going to as a man, you're going to start liking lazy people in your life, not working with them. Well, maybe it depends. You're going to start liking lazy people, right? Because lazy people make you look good and make it easier for you to stand out, right? So when you guys are dating, do yourself a favor. Ask her, when it's appropriate. Hey, how's your dating going? How is it? And just relish at the fact of all the simple mistakes the average guy is doing because they're just not putting in effort. They don't care. They want this to be some kind of 1970s style of dating where the girl just likes them for them. Meanwhile, you're laughing because you've done everything right. You cleaned your look up, you've gotten in shape, you got the right cologne on, your logistics are airtight, and you are you have backup, you have abundance mentality, meaning if this doesn't work out, just whatever, there's another girl down the street that you hooked up the other day that you can call or something, right? And you win. That's it, guys. That's it. Um, yeah. Another contrarian thought you guys need to consider: you can create a us versus them mentality with girls you date about you. Someone who doesn't pay for help and the Sims who do, so she's more skeptical of her field. Chad Elkins, yeah, I've heard that from a couple of my accountant friends and Chad and all that stuff, and it's pretty bad, right? It isn't 43. If that's true, which I doubt it is, there's a lot of it. It's going to be back to the government, right? Um, yeah, but I think like Adam 22 doesn't care. There's no morality. You can't appeal to a sense of morality. He doesn't care, right? It's just his wife is just a set of holes who he loves. Like there's nothing. They don't care. A lot of girls rug pull their Sims with OF for a day, just a short term cash grab. They won't even post content. Just a few $100,000 for rent money and dip. Yeah. Yeah, guys, you're not in that class. You don't have to be mad. You're out of that. It's just like watching poor people fight over like food on the side of the street. It's like it's not your problem, right? Yeah. So, all right, guys, hit the like button. If there's no super chats, I'll talk to you guys later and think about this. All right. Stop being mad. See you guys later.